Hey guys, welcome back. Today I finally have Pat McGrath's Mothership 9 palette, Utopian Dream. I've been waiting for this. I know some of you guys, some other beauty content creators have already received this, not in PR, but just from Pat McGrath, regular shipping. So mine has finally arrived. I'm excited. The palette in person looks prettier than in photos. It does still take my breath away like other Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. So let me just show you first the carton that the palette comes inside. A little bit different from previous Mothership packaging is the card. So this card here is inside, it kind of goes at the bottom, and it has the eyeshadow names printed on it. The texture of this card I think is the same. It feels a little bit less glossy. It's like a matte finish, but notably what's different is actually the colors of this font. There used to be gold foil where this is printed, and let me show you Divine Rose 2's for comparison. So this is Divine Rose 2, and you know what I mean with the gold foil, and I feel like it does, it feels a little bit more glossy. So that is a difference here. And also on the back, this is double-sided. On the back here for Divine Rose 2, it does have a brief description of Pat McGrath's accolades, her experience in the industry. And I've actually never read this myself, so I'll just read it real quick here. Pat McGrath, the mother of makeup and the runway, 25 years of groundbreaking artistry, obsession, inspiration, addiction, 87 makeup trunks used backstage at Fashion Week, artistry, alchemy, allure, created the look for 3,300 runway shows on 129,000 models. Wow. Technique, technology, truth. The makeup master behind 101 magazine covers. Mastery, mesmerization, majorness. On the back of Mothership 9, it is not double-sided, and obviously it's just blank. So I thought that was interesting to note, but otherwise the packaging on the carton itself is true to what we've come to expect from Mothership palettes. And again, I'll hold up Divine Rose 2 for comparison. Divine Rose 2, Utopian Dream. And the reason why I took out Divine Rose 2 is I think in people's mind when they see Utopian Dream, they think, that last Mothership palette, wasn't it sort of similar? It certainly did remind you of Divine Rose 2. So that's why I took it out. I will show you the shadows side by side, but I'm not actually going to swatch all of Divine Rose 2 shadows next to Utopian Dream because I'm going to save that for a different video where I talk about Divine Rose 1 and 2 and Utopian Dream side by side. For this video, I like to recreate the dupe I created about a week ago, I think, a week and a half ago, where I just, looking at photos online, I looked within my collection to see what I can dupe. I like to recreate that and see how close I got, and it's no secret. I think if you've been following me on Instagram, you already know this, but it's really not a secret. It took 9 palettes. I looked in 9 different, or sourced 9 different palettes in order to come up with shadows that I thought were similar. Unless you have a lot of indie brand shadows, because I know they have some amazing metallics, duochromes, and triochromes, so, which I don't. I don't have any indie brand, so I just took whatever I had, and I'm gonna try to recreate it for you guys today on this video. So a few things about the palette itself. The shadows are made in Italy and have a shelf life of 18 months. From Pat McGrath's website, this palette is described as experience astral projection as you transform eyes into prismatic nebulas with these ultra blendable, hyper wearable hues. 10 cosmetically creamy pigments venture from iridescent amethyst and solar bronze to shocking pink coral. 6 futuristic finishes, velvety matte, mesmerizing metallic, luminous shimmer, mind-altering duochrome sparkle, and transcendental triochrome let you gleam, smolder, and shape your way through a galaxy of looks. Along with the Mothership 9 palette, she also released a tool that enhances these shadows called the Artistry Wand, which I did not pick up. The wand is really interesting because you can wear it underneath the shadows or over top. It just seemed like you can apply it whichever way you would like to. and it's supposed to really enhance these shadows. From reviews and videos that I've seen of people, beauty creators, using the wand, the most impact I think you get from that product is going to be from these special shades, these three here, the Big Gelée, and then perhaps these shimmer shades here. Not so much the mattes is the impression that I got. And I might instead use some sort of mixing medium and see what they're like. I've used it in the past and I think they work well. If you really want to make something pop, they've really worked for me too. So moving on here, as you guys can see from the palette, I have not swatched it yet. I did really want to save it for doing it on the video, but let me, before we head into the swatches, just let me put Divine Rose 2 and Utopian Dream side by side. So you can see why this reminds you of Utopian Dream and why a lot of people thought, I think we've seen this color story before from Utopian Dream repeated across or appearing across different Pat McGrath palettes, which it could really be true. But there's really no shade here, no two shades from this palette that are the same. I'm going to create a dedicated video where I talk about Divine Rose 1, 2, and Utopian Dream all side by side, so we can do some very detailed comparisons at that time. But nonetheless, I just wanted to show you these two today very briefly. So let's head on to the swatches. I'm going to start with the three matte shades. We have Secret Eden, Shockwave, and Extreme Plum Noir. So this is Secret Eden, beautiful mauve shade, and then we have Shockwave, which is this bright, and I've made a mess. There we go. I do think it blends beautifully. Let me wipe off that. And then we have Extreme Plum Noir. Creamy mattes, very easy to blend. Excuse my mess up here. I think if I didn't mess up, it wouldn't be, you know, such an issue and look kind of messy. Moving on to the shimmer, there is the Skin Show Nude Ecstasy. For metallics, we have the Bronze Solaris 005 and CosmiK Bloom. Bronze Solaris 005, which is a special shade, and CosmiK Bloom. There is a true chrome in this palette, which is called Blitz Sex Dream, and it is this shade right here. Pink, green, and purple. Golden, I guess. Gold, green, pink. Now, because there are not a lot of triochromes in Pat McGrath's eyeshadow palettes, there's only one other one, I will actually do a swatch comparison from Divine Rose 2 in a bit. For duochrome sparkle, we have Astral Venusian Orchid and Astral Amethyst Moon. This is Astral Venusian Orchid, amazing, and Astral Amethyst Moon, beautiful. I think this you might get like 100% more color payoff with some kind of mixing medium. For gleaming metallic, we have Bronze Desire, and I believe, yes, Bronze Desire is the last shade that I have not swatched. Creamy, creamy metallics. So there we go. Here are the 10 shades from the new palette. From Divine Rose 2, the triochrome here is Sextra Terrestrial. So let me swatch that for you. And I'm going to go back into Blitz Sex Dream. Do the two side by side. They look quite similar, but I do think they're different. So let me just do that down here. This is Divine Rose 2 and Utopian Dream. some similarities, but I do think they are a little bit different. We're able to see both the kind of a green metallic gold and the purpley pink, but the way they shift, there's a little bit of difference here. So I'm going to actually create a look first using Huetopian Dream, and then we'll do the dupe replication at the end. I'm going to start by adding Extreme Plum Noir right above the lash line. And then taking Shockwave, placing that or just building it on top of Extreme Plum Noir. I like this pink. Ooh, that is bright. And then going into Secret Eden, I am going to buff out Shockwave and then add Secret Eden onto the crease. Going into Cosmic Bloom, adding that right here. And just moving it towards the center of the lid. I mean, that's pretty great payoff without any kind of mixing medium, artistry wand. It's pretty impressive. Then I'm going into Blitz Sex Dream here and just adding it right here to deepen everything up, but still hopefully give some shift, like interesting shift because of it being a triochrome. Taking this jumbo blending brush, I'm going to buff out all these pink shades that I have here, so it looks a little bit more diffuse, less concentrated. Then I'm taking Astral, Venusian, Orchid. I think I've been calling it Venetian. It is not Venetian. It's Venusian. And just tapping it some here. That extra shift and sparkle. And then finally, I'm going to go into Astral Amethyst Moon. I'm going to first try using my finger and see what that effect is like. Placing that on the center. It's quite pretty. And then I'm going to go in using my Mario mixing medium. Just going to see what kind of effect I get. Maybe it's not compatible, I'm not sure. Let's see. So this is with the mixing medium. Tap it on. Yes, it does add to the pigmentation, the payoff. It does brighten it up. I don't think this is the effect the artistry wand is going to have, but if you decided not to get the artistry wand, you could use a mixing medium and get some more impact out of the shadow. So let me repeat everything on the other side, then we'll come back to wrap up on the look. I'm going to add Chantekai's Violet Damask eyeliner on the upper lash line. And then going in with Pat McGrath's liquid liner. And then with what's left on my brush, as I went into Shockwave, I'm just going to add that on the lower lash line. I'm also adding a little bit of Skin Show Nude Ecstasy into the inner corners. If I'm glowing everywhere else on my lid, might as well add some highlight to the inner corners too, right? I'm going to use Pat McGrath's Divine Blush today in the shade Divine Rose. For highlighter, I'm also using her Divine Rose highlighter. And for lips, I'm using Dior's Liquid Matte Lipstick in the shade 458. I believe this is Forever Paris. So this is the finished look. I did stick with pinky purple theme. With the lipstick too, I could have gone with something that was nude in any finish, matte, satin, and gloss, but I did want to try it with a pink shade. I think it was just what I was in the mood for. When we get into winter or fall and winter days, there are many opportunities to do more nude looks then. So I still wanted to, because it's nice and warm outside, I still wanted to do something that was a bit brighter, a little bit more summery. As for the blush and highlight, I don't think it was a surprise that her Divine Rose shade from her Divine Blush collection and the Divine Rose highlighter was going to go with this eye look. Basically, Utopian Dream, in my opinion, is an extension of her Divine Rose. It's right on theme with everything else. It's not the same as the Divine Rose 1 and 2 palettes or any of the quads or 6 pans that she's released, but it certainly is like another spin-off of that theme. I am not sure that we're going to ever see the end of Divine Rose or, you know, the pinky, purpley, mauvey rosy color story from her, because it's been so successful for the brand. Although I look forward to something completely different in the future. I think every now and then we're going to see more Divine Rose-esque products being released. So the last part of this video, I wanted to dupe or replicate the dupe that I created. I'm going to take everything off of the arm because for the replication, I thought about using the other side. It's just so awkward to show it like this. And I guess I could just show you my arm and do like a voiceover, but I think I'm gonna try this side and we'll see how that goes. And I guess I'll know better for next time when we do these recreations again. So let me just take this off and I'll come back and we'll get to the last part. All right, I have swatched everything. And this looks so amateur, my apologies. I thought I had started like in a really great spot, and then when I realized putting my arm up like this, yeah, it's just not. Anyways, if we can just look past that, I think there's still enough coverage here that will allow us for a good side-by-side comparison. So first I have here from Viseart, the Étendue Violette palette, and this is in the shade Jezebel, which I will swatch against Astral Amethyst Moon. And as you can see, her Astral Blitz formula is just not as easily replicated or not easily found in other eyeshadow brands, barring indie brands. It is truly very unique and it does stand out. As you can see, I did put this amethyst, this Astral Amethyst Moon shade onto the center of my lid. It just instantly transformed the look into something that's very cosmic, if you will. So really loving that. When I found this shade here from Viseart, I didn't think it was going to be, you know, 100% dupe or even close, but I thought it would give us kind of a sense. And it does have a similar shift. This shade here has a kind of blue purple shimmer to it, which I think the Astral Amethyst Moon also has. It's just that the finish and the payoff is totally different. Next up is Astral Venusian Orchid. And I compared it to another Pat McGrath shade. So this is from her Ritualistic Rose Astral Rose Orchid. And let me see here. They're not the same, although on camera, they look very similar actually. This one has more purple shift to it than the one from Ritualistic Rose, but it is the same idea. Both of them are Astral Blitz formulas, and that's why you see such similarities. And honestly, you could choose one or the other. I think you'd still get a very similar outcome, similar look when you choose those two. Then we have Blitz Sex Dream. This is the Trio Chrome. And not similar because there is no shift here, but one of the base shade you see, kind of like a burgundy rosy color, I think that is a match between these two. And obviously this one doesn't have a shift here. So this is from Hamish, a Korean brand. I forget the name of this palette. I think it is Rose Story 1 or Rose Story 2. I'm gonna dig up some links and have everything below. So everything, including the palettes I used for dupes today, is gonna be below, and then anything that I have put on my face to create this look will be in the description as well. This is a very, very pretty palette. I actually used two shadows. So Burgundy Rose is the one that I have on my arm, the shade here. And the other shade is, we're gonna see this pink here. So I think this is a very pretty palette, and I think it does channel some Divine Rose vibes. Following Blitz Sex Dream, we have Bronze Solaris 005. And I would say not all that similar to the shade here, which is from Natasha Denona's Metropolis palette. It is the shade Imperia. The tone is different. This is a bronzy color, and this is a rustic gold. Although it looked gold in the photos, like the Pat McGrath palette, which is why I went for like a gold shade, no, it is a bronze. Then we have Shockwave here. Not quite the same. This is much brighter, more leaning towards like a coral pink, and this is more rosy. Next is Bronze Desire. And this is Natasha Denona's from her bronze palette, Gloaming. Totally different. And this shade swatches so beautifully. Representative of Pat McGrath metallics, rival the metallics of Natasha Denona. Followed by Cosmic Bloom. Some similarities. This is from Pat McGrath's Celestial Divinity palette. This is CosmiK with a capital K. CosmiK has way more of a shift to it, like the purple, pink, and gold. This also has a shift, but it's more monochromatic and less dramatic. But the two are actually similar besides that shift. They have like similar vibes. The textures, I will say the texture of Cosmic Bloom is creamier, and the one from Celestial Divinity feels a bit more chunky. Moving on, we have Secret Bloom. Compared to Viseart's, this is their Midsummer Petite Pro palette, the shade Titania. We're not even close with this one. And then Extreme Plum Noir. Compared against to Divine Rose 1, this is Extreme Mahogany. This has more red in it and is more plummy, but all these extreme kind of deep matte shades are, you know, they're just all very similar. It's the same idea with her Skin Show Nude shades. So the last shade here, speaking of which, is Skin Show Nude Galaxy. And this shade here is also from Pat McGrath. It is from her Golden Opulence palette called Eternal Opulence. The two are not the same. This one has more pink and peach to it in the shift. This one also is kind of pink and peachy, but this is more apparent. So there you go. We have the Pat McGrath Mothership 9 Utopian Dream swatches here, and then compared to my dupes, maybe like this. Although not every shade is the same or even that similar, I think I've captured the vibe, the general vibe. I think what's obvious from this exercise is Pat McGrath has some shades that are just, you just can't replicate it. They're found in her palettes, the ones that got really close, like this shade here, these two shades here, perhaps even, yeah, this one too from this one, CosmiK. Those are from Pat McGrath palettes. Go off-brand to other makeup brands, I'm just not going to find quite the same thing. Which brings me to my last point is, do you need this palette? If you have a handful of Pat McGrath palettes, I don't think you need it per se. I think it's beautiful and it doesn't disappoint for a Mothership palette. But if you already have a handful of her Divine Rose releases, including Celestial Divinity, which has a lot of shades in it, I don't think you need this right away. You may consider and think about it until we hit Black Friday, where there's another sale. And I think around that time, I'm going to, really dive down and do that comparison between Divine Rose 1, 2 and Utopian Dream. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe if you guys want to see that sooner, I'd be happy to sit down and do that video as well. So let me know what you think of this palette below. If you got it, you're still thinking about it. It's undeniable that her color stories are also excellent. It's an invitation to play, and she does have a way of putting together shadows that go really well together, and that's something that I think is not easily replicatable through other brands because it is her style specific to her aesthetic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.